Yo everyone, Trunks here, and I want you all to do me a quick favor and subscribe to Silverpwn. You won't be sorry. Well, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. Anyways, I've got some training to go do. Yo, conton!
What's up guys, Silverpwn here, and today we're going to be talking about guilds in Xenoverse 3, and why I believe guilds would be a viable option within the third game for Xenoverse itself. Now, before we begin, Xenoverse 2 does not have guilds. It never has had guilds. It's had, things that have been close to the guilds, which that being the Tournament of Power, or Tournament of Universes rather, and the team function. The team function only lets you have one or two people in your team, and Tournament of Universes is a faction that you join and you contribute your glory points to win things like star coins and whatnot in the Festival of Universes. Now, that's as close as we've gotten to guilds in Xenoverse 2, and I think not implementing guilds within Xenoverse 2 is a missed opportunity within itself, but I'm not going to give the devs too much hate because they do give a lot of attention and care to Xenoverse 2 with the DLCs and updates that we get. So, it's whatever. But I do think that it may be too late to implement a function like guilds in Xenoverse 2, because that's something that you should hit hard when a game first launches, especially for a game like Xenoverse. Xenoverse definitely needs guilds in it. Now, getting into the why I believe that we should have guilds in Xenoverse 3 is because it would finally create a real sense of community. Now, this is like the overarching point for all the points going forward in the video, but guilds would encourage consistent co-op instead of just one-off teams. Like I said, the team function, you would get on the game knowing that you can just go and contribute to your guild or play with your guild mates within the game, and it's just extra things to do, more stuff to do on top of, grinding your levels and acquiring, equipment and whatnot. And the guilds would probably make that easier as well. Now, we're going to go a little bit more in depth here. Going forward to my next reason, guilds add long-term progression beyond your CAC. Once you hit max level in Xenoverse, really there's not a ton to do besides just grinding out parallel quests in PvP. And I think adding guilds would give the players more of an incentive to do those things, because here's the thing. In the Tournament of Universes, when you go and you gain glory points for your guild or for your universe, it's divided between parallel quests, and I think you get glory points for doing PvP as well. So instead of locking players into one side or the other, it could be both. You could acquire guild points through doing PvP and parallel quests. So, you might have diverse players like, that choose to do one or the other, or both if they feel like it. And guilds could include things like shared challenges, clear 100 parallel quests and you get like a rare item or a rare XP boost or something. Beating a raid boss on higher difficulty could be like a quest. Just different guild challenges for your guild, giving you more things to do and giving you more rewards for those things. This would also include like a leaderboard for guilds and whatnot, and yeah. Now, the next reason I believe we deserve guilds in a Xenoverse 3 is because guilds would fix the co-op and the raids considerably, a whole lot in fact. Because think about it, how many times have you gone into Xenoverse 2 and you want to queue up for a raid, but you don't have enough people for the raid? You have to queue in with like maybe one or two people and take in a lot of CPUs with you. Now, that might be cool and all, but if you have a guild, you would have members in your guild that would probably be willing to do those raids with you. And, you could just load in with a full lobby most of the time if your guild mates were down, especially if you, like I said, have challenges for the guilds and whatnot, which would make more people want to get on there and do those things. And so you wouldn't have to go through the hassle of trying to get people to join. It's, you can just go to your guild space and have your guild members right there, and you can just all queue in together. Now, on the co-op side of this as well, we all know that there is, 1v1s in Xenoverse 2. There's also 2v2s, and there's also 3v3s. Now, lately in the game, unless you queue in with your friends for like a 2v2 or a 3v3 match, you're gonna have some trouble trying to make a full lobby. Now, it's not, it's definitely possible. It's not impossible to do, but it's gonna take you some time to get people in your game. But if you have a guild and people in that guild, you can queue in, with, max people and do 2v2s and 3v3s for like guild sparring and whatnot. And that would make the game just so much more just smooth, I guess. The ease of access to just play with other people in those, modes that the game has kind of just let die down a bit because of the wait times. And I don't want to say dwindling player base, because I do believe that Xenoverse 2 has a big player base still. It's just, for whatever reason, a lot of people are not queuing up for 2v2s and 3v3s. But yeah, that would kind of remedy that a little bit, or altogether, if not. Another reason why I believe we deserve guilds in Xenoverse 3 is because guilds fit into the lore perfectly. In fact, we already have guilds kind of built into the game itself. If you don't believe me, just look at the Frieza Force, the Time Patrollers themselves, the Pride Troopers, the Red Ribbon Army remnants, and, people of the Demon Realm, if you want to consider them that, like Piccolo, Mira, Toa, whatnot, if you want to go that far into it. But yeah. So yeah, like I said, the game already has built-in factions within itself, so introducing guilds is just kind of just, playing off of that already, which you already have in the game. Also, being in a guild could also change some NPC interactions with people. You could have guild wars with other guilds. Imagine getting onto the game and you have a scheduled guild war with another guild, and it's you queuing into like 3v3s or 2v2s against another guild, or even 4v4s potentially, with your full team. And you guys just have a guild war, you duke it out, and whoever wins, gets rare items or collectibles or whatever. Now, what those collectibles and items would be, I don't know, but it would have to be something rewarding enough for you to want to go into it and do it. Like, a title, a little icon that goes above your player's head or whatever. Stuff like that. They could even do guild tournaments. And I think that would increase the replay value of the game even further beyond what it probably already is. Because Xenoverse 3, let's be real, it's going to have a lot implemented into it. And the replay value should be there based off of what we have in 2. So, adding guilds would just give the game a whole nother layer to itself and give you more reasons to play, which I've already been hampering on in this video. The next reason is guilds can create content without constant new DLC. Now, that is a huge point for longevity in the game itself, because guilds could naturally generate rivalries, competition, and player-driven stories. Now, I'm not really much of a role player in Xenoverse 3. Not Xenoverse 3. I'm not really much of a role player in like Xenoverse itself. I just play the game and have fun. But I know a lot of people do like to do like the little role play stuff or whatever. Like, they like to imagine their San as like a, it has like this lore, this backstory to it. When I first made my San, I was kind of doing that too. But this will kind of give you that more of an incentive to do that and stuff. But yeah, guilds just give you a whole lot of content. So like we were talking about, going in and doing quests and PvP and getting points for your guild and doing stuff like that, and just also having guild wars, guild rivalries and stuff. I think it's just a cool, extra layer to add to the game. I think guild systems within themselves can keep a game alive. Now, I remember back in Jump Force, I don't know if a lot of you played Jump Force or not, but Jump Force had guilds. And whenever you fought people, you see their guild at the bottom of the screen. Now, you really didn't get a lot of rewards for doing PvP and whatnot in Jump Force, but it was cool to be a part of a guild and also kind of just go check in and see what your guild mates are doing or how they've contributed to the guild. Because you could see the amount of points that everybody in the guild would accumulate and add to the overall percentage of the guild. So like in Jump Force, you would have a ranking. You would have like, D, C, B, A, or S rank guilds, and it would all be dependent on how many points you had and how many people were in your guild garnering these points. Xenoverse 3 could do something just like this, and you could also buy rewards for your guild as the guild master and add little XP boosts and stuff, and I think that's very cool. Now, the whole idea that I have for guilds in this game works a lot better if the game goes the open map route, which I know I probably say it a lot in a lot of my videos, but if you haven't seen my open map video, go check that video out. And, you know, the creating Conton City video, all that, I kind of go more in depth about all that stuff in those videos. Essentially, I want the game to have maps like Kakarot does. And I think this would work better for guilds as well, because I think guilds should have like their own space, if that makes sense. Now, going into like the Xenoverse lore, because, you know, I compared the maps to Kakarot and stuff, that would just be for maps themselves. But for the Conton City side, you know, teleporting to the Majin Buu house or Mr. Satan's house or the Capsule Corporation location, that rhymed. You know, I think guilds could work the same way, where you go talk to, you know, a transfer robot and you get teleported to this little area where your guild house is, and people can go there that are in your guild and just hang out and do certain things. That would make it a lot easier for your guild to communicate as well, because everyone is in a collected space together, and, you know, they can maybe share collectibles, trade. You know, if somebody's a lower level in the guild, you know, somebody that's a higher level can give them items, or just go help them do parallel quests or PvP or whatever they want to do. It would give, you know, it's a handicap for lower level players, because they can get in and kind of get, you know, boosted up a little bit, and higher level players get rewarded and get more things to do in return. So I think it's a fair trade-off in both ways. And now I know I'm yapping, but I just kind of wanted to go in depth a little bit about that reason in particular. So my final take on guilds in Xenoverse 3 is that they wouldn't just be a feature, they would be a backbone of the game itself, because pretty much everything you do in the game, combat related, story related, all of it could be, you know, boosted through the use of guilds within the game. Now, a lot of you may disagree, but a lot of you probably agree and do believe that, you know, guilds were a missed opportunity in Xenoverse 2. And so going into Xenoverse 3, they should just go all in with guilds and make it something to where, you know, it feels rewarding enough for people, the majority of people, to want to do it, to join guilds. And I think that it, like I said, it works a lot better if the game just releases. Like Xenoverse 3, let's just say Xenoverse 3 drops like tomorrow, and they have guilds incorporated into the game. I think the guild function would work a lot better than for them to just wait super long and then add it later, like for something like Xenoverse 2. So that's my 2 cents on it. I think it'd be a great option. Sorry if I rambled a little bit in this video, or a bit, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. What do you guys think about guilds in Xenoverse 3? Do you think guilds would be a good option? And let me know if I missed anything or any points that would, you know, contribute to guilds being added into the game, because I'm pretty sure I probably glossed over a lot of reasons why they would be good. But, you know, I tackled what I believed would make the change and the switch to add guilds a great idea. So yeah, as always, thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell if you want to. And yeah, man, guilds. Let's just hope that we get Xenoverse 3 announced at this Genki Dama event, yeah? Peace.